All right. Happy Thursday, January 6th. Hope you're enjoying the year, the new year, and recovered and are back into this full swing of things. Do appreciate you joining me today for all things Division Three soccer with Simple Coach and Jackie. So I'm Simple Coach, and Jackie's wandering around here. She's in a little bit of a funk today, so this is like my sixth time trying to record this thing, and she flips out every. Anyhow, so thanks for joining me today. Super excited. Today is the season opener of the 3GreaterThan1 Premier League. If you remember, the last one I did, the preseason game was against Washington U, where if you haven't been following, I selected what I call D3Best, about 32, 33 players that I really enjoyed watching throughout the year, who I thought were special, and tried to come up with a roster. So, goalkeepers, the appropriate number of defenders, appropriate number of midfielders, and appropriate number of forwards to develop a roster, and then take that roster, come up with a starting 11, and play against a team. And in the preseason game, I selected Washington University, and which we won 3-1. So today I am decided that I was going to take on my D3Best team was going to take on Stevens Institute of Technology, and part of the issue that I am discovering, sorry about that, Jackie, she's the boss. She's the boss of me. So part of the issue is that in order to do this, I need video, and I'm finding in a lot of instances that some of this video is now inaccessible. Come on, girl. That's Jackie. Some of it's inaccessible. It's no longer available to me. So some of the teams that I had hoped to play against, I probably won't be able to because of availability. So I'm just going to go take it on a week-by-week basis. So for this one, I decided Stevens Institute of Technology. And I watched a couple games against, I tried to make sure that I got sort of the gist of how they play, or how I think they play, and some of their players, and do some research. And so here it is. Let's start it. Let's go start with the starting lineups. Let me switch over. And there we go. Okay, so this is the roster that I've used. Again, this may or may not jive with what they play mostly. Some of this stuff, some of the video is hard to watch just to get numbers wise, and I know things change and players get hurt and all that stuff. So these are the ones that I thought were the most common that I was able to see. So in goal, Aiden Boreati, who is an honorable mention All MAC Freedom Conference for this year. Right back is Michael Gomez. Center back is Fritz Kabisman. Fritz just so happens to be a All MAC first team, All MAC Freedom selection. Yep. Okay. Tyler Dressman as the other center back, and then left back is Matthew Pino. I think it's Pino. Right mid, you have Bruno Andino, he's a first team All MAC and a third team All Region, Region 4. Center mid is Sean Mazer. Left mid is Adam Silva, who I really enjoyed watching this kid. He is first team All MAC and first team All Region. On the wings, you have Dylan Inguardi, I think, and Emerson Kuzemka. I hope I said that right. And then the center forward, Cristiano Ronaldo Hawken, um, first team All MAC, and he was a second team All Region. So some quality players on the field for Stevens Tech. And let's go into the D3Best roster. Okay, so in gold today, I picked Dylan Brown from Denison. He's a first-team All-NCAC. He was the NCAC tournament MVP, and if you watch that game against Kenyon, you understand why. First-team All-Ohio, and he was first-team All-Region. Right back, I have Ferno Guy from St. Olaf. He was first-team All-MIAC. First team All Region. First team All Region. Center back, Drew Van Ander from Calvin. Really big fan. This kid is phenomenal. First team All Conference. He was the conference MVP. First team All Region. First team All American. He is not only a great soccer player, but he's a really great student, which I love to hear about. D3 first team scholar All-American, and then he was the scholar All-American of the year. So pretty high honors for him. At left back, I went with the freshman Connecticut College ball player Jack Kelisaglu. He was the second team All-NESCAC. This kid's going to be, by his senior year, he's gonna win everything. The kid's a really special player. So now in the midfield, and you'll see, yes, I'm going with three backs, and you'll understand why. Right mid, I put Hector Gomez from Ohio Wesleyan, another fantastic ball player, first team All NCAC midfielder of the year, first team All Ohio, first team All Region, and first team All American. Another class player. In the center of the park, one of the two central midfielders, Ignacio Subedu from Amherst. He was a third-team All-Region. This is a great little midfielder in getting forward and picking through the gaps. The other center mid who I really like is Peter Olson from North Park. He was a first-team All-Conference player. He was the Offensive Player of the Year for his conference. First-team All-Region, and he was a third-team All-American. Another spectacular, great midfielder, really versatile. And then at left mid, another. I can't say enough. I'm going to say all of it. I like all of these guys. But Peter Nava from MIT, first team All Conference. He was the NUMAC Athlete of the Year. He was third team All American, and he's a pretty smart dude. You have to be at MIT, which I still struggle spelling MIT, but hey. He is an academic all-district. Okay, and then the forward line. On the wings, I have Matt Mcdonald. He's a first-team all-conference, first-team all-region. A bald-headed beast up top, and you'll see why I really like this kid. Josiah Crawford, who would play on the left wing from Montclair State, another fantastic ball player. He was first team all conference. He was the Pat Baldessera NJAC midfielder of the year. His first team all region and second team all American. And then as a center forward, Will Isaac from Otterbein, first team all OAC, first team all Ohio, first team all region. He was a second team All-American, and he was a second team academic All-Ohio. So another true example of a student athlete. All these guys are, but he's definitely hits the books well. So this is my lineup. Just some points clarification. Yes, I'm going with three back. I know I've said center forward, wing, and wing for the front line. That's all interchangeable, and hopefully I can make that clear as you see how this goes forward. Okay, so just gonna throw out the formations of each team. Let me see if I can. On the right, Stevens, and then for D3Best, we're going with a 3-4-3, and you'll see because this is just the start, right? I think while it looks like it's a 4-3-3 for Stevens, the way I watched and understood how they sort of ended up playing, and usually to me formations sort of look more real when you're more in the defensive end. So it looked like to me like they were going with at times like a 4-5-1 with 5 midfielders. I know. I know the outside, the wings, 24 and 21. So Emerson Kuzemka, number 24, and then Dylan Nguardi out left, number 21. They are midfielders, but again, just for formation's sake, just to lay it out on the field, because this is usually my starting point. It's okay. This is what we're gonna look like. I went with a 3-4-3. Defensively, it'll be, I think it's like a 5-3-2. But yeah, I'll show you that. So I do this thing, or what's the first attack? What's the first way they like, where I think Stevens likes to attack that I was able to observe? And so when they have the ball and they are forward, they sort of do 3 things with the ball. The way I've been sort of, again, there's multiple ways to look at it, but I sort of honed in on 3 essential plays. And I'm only going to show you these 3, but it can change, and it can especially change when players shift, and I'll explain that. Especially Adam Silva, number 10. He can play on both sides, and to me, he was sort of the linchpin of the attack, along with Bruno Andino, number 22. So number 10 and number 22 would sort of flip the sides, and depending on where number 10 was, Silva, that's where the play emerged. But here's an example of a play that sort of seemed very common. I never saw them quite sort of go, hey, let's get this wide and zip it in. They're always looking to get the ball to their leading scorer, Cristiano Haken, number 9. They're always looking to get him on the loose because he is pretty lethal. There's a couple of goals that I saw were spectacular, right? Like he just turned a man and rifled the ball that keeper had no chance for. They are looking to get it to Bruno, who would then immediately look to get it out to Adam Silva. And like I said, this can be flipped. So there's 2 attacks, right? Depending on which side, where these players are situated on the field. It could be, Adam Silva, number 10, is on the right, and so that all the play is coming from the left and is going into the right. So there's that play. This is their second attack, when they seem to, again, same type of formation, same sides, can alternate whichever side they're on. Again, Adam Silva, number 10, to me is the linchpin. And so when Silva, who's the ball handler, gets the ball, really he's looking again. The biggest pass is Cristiano Hawkin, number 9. How do they get the ball to him? Um, Silva, in his own right, is talented in front of goal. He's the second leading point getter for the year with 3 goals and 2 assists. They're looking for Bruno Andino on the right, or they're looking to thread Emerson Kuzemka on the right, number 24. And again, sort of through ball on the ground for the most part. But they're trying to spring that weak back. And so the when they're in the attack, those were the 2 plays that they're looking to do to score, right? And like I said, their main prop is number 9, Hawken, who, when he's not in, they go with, and I watched another one who's equally talented, scored 3 goals on his own, is Jay Poskett, who's number 16, who I think was his sub, or the guy who goes in for him. I don't know, a couple games that I watched, he might have been hurt, or number 9 might have been hurt, and so 16 is his replacement. But it's the same, nothing changes. It's going to, how do we get it to the high man up top and let him make something happen. So Okay, so this is the 3rd attack, and I wouldn't necessarily call this an attack, although I am sure a lot of teams would consider this an attack. So their best players I talked about are the ones in red, and Fritz Kabisman, number 4, who's a center back, is really, really good as a back. But he gets the ball like most teams do in the back, and makes a decision as to what's going to happen. And by and large, when he gets the ball, he is sending out 2 balls. And this applies to the goalkeeper, Aiden Barriati, who does the same. He's looking to that left side. It's usually the left. It could go to the right if Silva is on that right. But and basically he's looking for Inguardi on the left. He is looking for Silva in support. If he can win the second, if Inguardi wins the ball, the second ball goes to Silva. And then obviously the big one is up top is Hawken. How can you get the ball? And if Inguardi on the left wins the ball, goes to Silva, Silva immediately looks to get to Hawken. And so those are the 3 attacks that sort of seem to be the most commonplace. This one, the 3rd one, is the one that seemed to do the most, which I'm surprised, because number 8, where is he? Number 8. Oh yeah, Sean Mazer is a real. I thought he has potential, and it's interesting because I know they have a freshman ball player who would be. I mean, he would be a great. This would be a great spot for him to receive, instead of going long all the time. He would have the capacity to bring the ball in and make a play off of it. He'd probably have to sit deeper, but fully capable. So yeah. Okay, so let's just talk about defensively how D3Best would line up in this case. And again, just full disclosure, this was all paper, so I have the benefit of being able to move pieces around the way I see fit. Games change things, they smack you upside the head when the ball gets rolling, right? It's like whatever analysis you can do just falls apart when you start to play. But this is the way I would sort of defensively want to line up. So just assuming, hey, they're all, Stevens is all forward. I'm going to line up. And what you see is I have my three backs, um, my three backs, Guy, Van Ander, and Kelisoglu are now pinched into the middle for all intents and purposes. They are all tight into the middle because I want this is where I want to make it difficult for them. But I also want to take away deep wing positions. So Hector Gomez on the right and Peter Navoa on the left will drop back in almost into that defensive spot. And this is probably overkill on the defensive side, to be quite honest with you. But I was trying to do things a little different. I'm trying to play with different ways to line up teams. So this, like I said, this might be a little overkill. But yeah. So, and then in the midfield, Subedu, Will Isaac is dropping back. Almost as the number 10 now. Peter Olsen on the left there. And obviously they're covering men coming through, right? Now, I always say I want to defend with 7, attack with 2. So the 2 attacking are Josiah Crawford, who in this example is central, and Matt Mcdonald from Messiah, who is on the right. So the idea here is Matt McDonald from Messiah is really good at just chasing and going after the ball. And so I want, in this instance where the ball is with Adam Silva, number 10, I want him on that side to press, right? And then if the play shifts over to the right, McDonald steps into the middle, Crawford then goes out right. And I know I said he was a winger, McDonald's a winger, and Will Isaac is the central, but I want McDonald actually to be that central guy because he does chase down the ball. And what you'll see defensively on the when we're on the attack, what I want to end up doing is making sure that Cavesman doesn't get the ball. So number 4, either if he gets the ball, he's under a lot of pressure because I don't want him to look up and ping whatever ball he thinks he wants to ping. I want him to have to force a ball out a different way. All right. Oh, so this is how they would. This is what I want to do. I basically want to, between Crawford or Matt McDonald with Cabersman and the number 4, and then with Hawken, Silva, Sean Mazer, and Bruno Andino. So these 4 right here. If I can sort of eliminate them out of the play, I basically eliminate half of their goal production. So they scored 31 goals this year. 15 of those came from those 4 players. So the whole idea is how do we congest this space in front of them so that the only places that they can go are out wide, and between Peter Navoa and Hector Gomez left and right, who are playing in the back, I'll take one-on-ones there because I think they're good enough where they're not going to allow themselves to be beat. So I basically shut down the front, and so I basically shut down their goal production. That's the whole premise here, is that I'm just shutting them down, and when we win the ball, we can counter, and I'll show you how I want to counter in this scenario, and yeah, so let's go to that. So on a counter attack, same play, except this time Ignacio Subedu from Amherst recovers the ball. Let's just say right where it is. Now, what I want to do is I want the ball to get to Matt Mcdonald. So if I go backwards, Matt Mcdonald is sitting high, and as soon as we win the ball, he goes on. He just goes, and he goes straight forward to hopefully receive the ball, and he has a number of options. So again, this is a counterattack. So he could take the ball and go straight to goal. He's that capable. And if that's his judgment, then so be it. He can go to his right where Gomez is following up, and he could either he can go Gomez can go to goal, or if he can let loose Josiah Crawford in the middle to go to goal. And those are sort of the three plays on the counterattack. Now, let's just say that counterattack falls apart, and now we're talking strictly about how do we attack as a team. And so this is how we position ourselves. And you'll see Hector Gomez out right and Josiah Crawford out left. I like them wide as possible, because if they do get ahead of steam with the ball, nobody's gonna be able to deal with them. So in this scenario, I want the possession, what I call the possession diamond or triangle, depending on how I'm setting it up, is the four backs. So Peter Olsen is the midfield piece of that diamond, so that connecting. Van Ander is the back, is the deep back. Kelisoglu is out left, and Guy is out right. So the premise here is like when the ball is here, we're communicating that we're holding the ball, right? And that's the idea. And we're trying to draw out. And in a real world, you probably see these two step out to try to win a ball on these spots. And which is okay, because as soon as that happens, what we want to do is we want to let loose somebody. So and because the middle is purposely crowded, we would be looking to get the ball to Sebedu here or Navoa in this space, and then they have a number of different options. They can, try to break through. They could make a number of passes. They can, again, Hector or Josiah on left and right. They could give them the ball, and they can go to goal or get around and try to put the ball across. And all of these in purple are the runs that can be made depending on the decision that is made. So, you have, again, Matt Mcdonald making Sebedu running through, Navoa running through, Crawford running through, and then Will Isaac stepping up from behind, which he acts as a withdrawn forward for me, because he has a really good eye on the ball, or eye for the ball, and when he has that time and space, he's good enough where he can go straight to goal on a shot or what have you. But the whole purpose of my attack in this case against Stevens is where I want this spot, because again, and you'll see it in the when I do where do goals come from in Division 3, 50+% of goals have come from this area. So I'm trying to get guys in favorable positions, whether it's one-on-one on goal or they're making a run into that space with the ball to look for somebody else. And that's where I'm trying to play. I don't want to get the ball into the 6, because that's what I think a keeper is for. But to score goals between the 18 and the 6 is the I think ends up being the zone. And then the holy grail is just this 6 to 10 yard line area, where a lot of goals happen, and from a percentage perspective. So I think that was the last one. And so, based on my assessment and how well my team performed and listened to my instructions, I go D3Best with 4 goals today. Stevens, we blank. Matt Mcdonald has 3 goals because he's so well positioned in the middle. Sabedu gets a goal and has an assist. Hector Gomez has 2 assists, and Josiah Crawford has an assist. So, officially start the season 1-0 with the preseason winner as well. So, yeah, that's it. That's my setup against Stevens. I hope you enjoyed it. Appreciate again you taking the time. Like I mentioned, I am trying to line up these simple coach to coach interviews, which will be fantastic here in the next couple of weeks. So look for that. I'll obviously be doing another 3v1 3GreaterThan1 Premier League game. Just not sure who is on the list and who I can get video for. So, maybe it's Anna Maria College. Maybe I think it's supposed to be Franklin and Marshall or Gettysburg. So hopefully I have access to some video. And then, and then I mentioned where do goals come from. So hopefully I'll be doing that here in the next couple weeks, and hopefully it's a good full January for you all. My CMO, like I mentioned, subscribe, like, and hit the bell thing. And thanks again for joining me and Jackie, who is dead asleep. I look forward to our next video, and have a joyous day, and see you soon. Oh, one last. Shoot me an email. That email, SC, as in Simple Coach, 149249@AOL.com. If you have any questions, concerns, compliments, or condemnations, I'll take them all. And we'll see each other soon.